All right, in this video, we're going to take a look at some more examples of solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. So picking up where we left off, example 1c, we have 6x squared minus 6x minus 15 equals negative 10. So in this problem, we don't have it equal to 0 first, which means the easiest way is going to be to bring this negative 10 over to the other side by adding it. So adding 10 to both sides, we're going to get 6x squared minus 6x and then minus 5 equals 0. So let's label our A, B, and C. We have A is 6, B is negative 6, and C is negative 5. So we get x equals negative 6 is 6, plus or minus the square root of. Here we see that B is negative 6, so in order to avoid any issues with squaring negatives, we can just ignore the negative and do 6 squared minus 4 times A is 6, C is negative 5, and all over 2 times A is 6. So we get 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 5 all over 2 times 6. Now simplifying inside of our square root, 6 squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 5 gives us 156, and in our denominator 2 times 6 is 12. Now again, we are looking for the exact values here, which means we're going to have to try to simplify the square root of 156. The square root of 156, the biggest perfect square that goes into 156 is 4. So 2 squared is 4, and that's the largest perfect square that goes into 156. So the square root of 156 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 39. The square root of 4 is 2. So square root of 156 is 2 times the square root of 39. I'm going to put a link in the description for the video from the Desmos playlist on how to use the calculator to simplify square roots. So again, we look for the largest perfect square that goes into 156. It's 4. And divide 156 by 4, we get 39. So we get the square root of 156 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 39, and the square root of 4 is 2. So 2 times the square root of 39 for the square root of 156. Notice also in our numerators, 6 and the 2 that are outside of a square root, we can factor a 2 out of those. So factor in a 2 out of each of the terms in the numerator. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 square root of 39 divided by 2 is just the square root of 39. Because the 39 is trapped inside of a square root, it's like it's quarantined. So we don't want to have this 2, or even this one out here, messing around inside the square root. So we have 2 times the expression 3 plus or minus the square root of 39 all over 12, which 2 over 12 simplifies to 1/6. So we have 3 plus or minus the square root of 39 all over 6. All right, part D, we have 7x squared plus 20x minus 8 equals negative 3x squared minus 1 plus 10x. So once again, we need to get this equal to 0. We'll bring each of the terms from the right-hand side over to the left. So we'll add 3x squared to both sides, we'll add 1 to both sides, and we'll subtract 10x from both sides. And when we do that, we get 10x squared plus 10x minus 7. It does equal 0, but the focus is going to be on the values of A, B, and C. So A is 10, B is 10, C is negative 7. So plugging it into our quadratic formula, we get negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 10 squared minus 4 times 10 times negative 7 all over 2 times 10. And when we calculate the inside the square root, we get 380, and the denominator is 20. So we have negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 380 all over 20. Now for the square root of 380, we want to find the largest perfect square that goes into 380, and it's 4. So 380 divided by 4 is 95. So the square root of 380 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 95. The square root of 4 is 2, so it simplifies to 2 times the square root of 95. Again, there will be a link in the description for the tutorial video from how to simplify square roots using Desmos. So we have negative 10 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 95 all over 20. The 10, just look at the 10 and the 2, we can factor a 2 from each of those terms. So dividing each of the terms in the numerator by 2, we get 2 times negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 95. still all over 20. And then the 2 over the 20 simplifies to 1 over 10. So our final answer for example 1D is -5 plus or minus the square root of 95 all over 10. All right, that about does it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.